What's going on?
3, 2, 1, and we're live.
What's up? How's it going?
Right. Yeah, we're just gonna go over the UFC card today. Obi and my guest today is Vrun.
How's it going?
The new Vrun Fitness London.
That's the name.
Yeah, it's a guy I work with in the gym in London Bridge, and he, believe it or not, it doesn't look like it, but he's a killer. He does side. So I'm just a wannabe MMA fighter. Fan of the sport though. So yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and obviously with the coronavirus situation and the UFC fights postponed. I think there have not been any fights for about 2 months now. This is going to be the first card in 2 months this Saturday. Saturday into Sunday. So I believe the fight start at 1 o'clock Sunday morning.
Yep.
All right, so I've been wanting to do this for a while. So I just feel like I've got a bit of knowledge to, I don't know, to give some value or make some impact in terms of like my analysis. So today then, I think the card, is UFC 249. That's the card for Saturday into Sunday. We're just gonna go over a few choice fights. Myself and Baron. I will be going first for all the fights, and then once I'm done, Baron will give us his analysis of the fights. Right, so we'll start with the fight in the women's strawweight division. It's meant to be fight 8 on the card, so there's 12 fights on the card. The card normally starts from obviously fight 12 going up to the main fight.
So it's from the prelims.
Yeah, the main event. So starting with Esparza, what's in fight 8, it's in strawweight division. I don't know how to like class the weight classes. Like, what does strawweight look like in?
No, it's just I can't even remember actually exactly how much they weigh.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the weights.
Around about 60 kilos, which is about 100 or 50.
No, strawweight is lighter than flyweight.
Is it?
Flyweight is 125 pounds. Flyweight is 125. I think strawweight just below 125. We're talking pounds because that's so actually it's only, I'm looking at the ESPN sort of like statistics. So you got 52 kg, that's strawweight. So on their profiles, fighter profiles, you got Esparza. I believe she's the favorite for this fight. You look on the profile, she has, I always go off like the previous fights and how they describe. She's known to be a wrestler. She utilizing a lot of wrestling. If you're new to MMA, there's 3 sort of like disciplines that all combine to make up MMA. So you got like jiu-jitsu, you got striking, which is usually multi, and you got...
Her basis is wrestling?
Say that again?
Her basis is wrestling, isn't it?
Yeah. You got jiu-jitsu, multi, and usually wrestling. In this sport, wrestlers tend to be very dominant. So that's the main reason why I'm sort of like leaning towards her for this fight. She's a wrestler. She has a very good wrestling background. And if you look at her record, she's fought a lot of household names in that division. So fighting Tatiana Suarez, even though she lost that fight. She fought Gedelia, she lost as well. But recently, she's on a 2-fight winning streak. She beat a girl called Alexa Grosso. She's a very good fighter by decision. A very, very tiny margin she won that fight. But like my main focus really is like her wins for the most part, usually unanimous decisions, which then tells you that they've been dominant. So if you win by unanimous decision, you've been dominant. So in my mind, I'm thinking she utilizes her wrestling very well. She used to be a previous champion in a different sort of fighting company. So that also kind of plays into her like championship mindset, championship only, which we'll talk about a lot towards the end of this fight card. So for me, I believe she has what it takes to win this fight. It's just, for me, it's gonna be like very slim margins though. Like in MMA, anything can happen. She's fighting against the what's her name? Michelle Watson.
Michelle Watson.
Yeah, she's known
She's
to be.
had more fights than her, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think,
she's
yeah,
had
I
more
think
fights than her.
yeah. I think Michelle Watson. No, I think I know she's a striker for the most part. Her nickname is Karate Hottie, so she's
Mm.
karate base more than like a wrestling or grappling base. Um, so she's a very dynamic fighter, which means she can utilize a lot of skills. Standing up. For me, that means that Esparza is probably going to be coming in with the game plan where she's trying to avoid standing with Watson as much as possible, and then looking to fall back to what she knows, which is a wrestling base. So I believe her wrestling will be too much for Michelle Watson. Also, wrestlers are known to have a lot of cardio. So I believe because of that, she'll be able to drag Michelle Watson into deep waters, as we say in MMA, which would mean that she either ends up winning by TKO, technical knockout, or by unanimous decision. That's really where I'm going with this fight. I'm thinking Esparza, um, by any means necessary. I think she wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Carla's going to win too. I feel like she's. No, I think she's going to be a dominant. I think she's going to get to the ground and pound. That's my prediction.
Ground and pound.
Mm-hmm.
Ground and pound.
Yeah.
You very confident about that?
Yeah, I'm confident.
Cool.
I feel like she's going to get her to the cage. I feel like she's going to hit her to the cage, take her down, and do some few shots, grab her with a few shots, and then work around the octagon a lot. I think that her wrestling as well is going to make a huge difference in the whole game fight compared to Watson, who's just going to go with the strikes combinations. I think that she's going to tire her out. I think that she's going to slip a lot of shots from Watson as well. I think she's going to be using a lot of her kicks as well, Carla. In particular, her axe kick. I think that's a pretty special move she likes to use. So yeah, I think Carla's going to win for this one, for me.
Sweet. The next fight up, I believe. I struggle to predict female fights. I just feel like it's more of an even playing field usually in the female fights. So you believe you find a lot of fights going to decision in female fights. I think also with the nature of MMA as well, like it can be anybody's fight on a given night. So it's hard to predict. For me anyway, personally, I find it hard to predict.
MMA is anything can happen.
Yeah.
You can get knocked out in less than, say, a couple of seconds now these days. It's a very unpredictable thing. It takes 1 second for your guard to just slip and then you're out.
One wrong move and you're done. Right.
I mean, look what happened to Askren and Masvidal.
100%. Seconds. Right. So next fight of March 7. March 7 is one in the heavyweight division. So you got former champion Fabricio Verdum taking on I believe Alexei Olenek. I think his name is Alexei. He's a Russian guy. Olenek. Looking at their physical stats, you got Verdum is taller. I believe Olenek weighs a little bit more, slightly taller Verdum. They're both orthodox stance fighters. Olenek's got a bit more of a reach advantage. Look at the striking statistics. You got Verdum to be he has more significant strikes, and accuracy more on Verdum's side. So you kind of start to see that from the stats even, you see that Verdum might take it just standing up. Also looking at takedown average, Olenek score maybe at least 3 times more takedown average than Batum. Again, it shows you their tendencies. So you're thinking Olenek is more likely to take the fight to the ground than you would think Batum would. So from there, I usually like to look at their wins and losses. But from just the stats by itself, and what I know of these fighters, Olenek tends to be very unorthodox on the feet. So his striking skills are not very refined by any means. Whereas you have Verdum, who's seen it all and done it all, beating Ken Velasquez, the who's who in the heavyweight division, by all means possible, talking striking, knockouts, all sorts. And Verdum is meant to be like a guru when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Looking at the two fighters' profile, I'm looking at Olenek, and a lot of his fights, he tends to win by submission. He's known to be a submission artist. But whenever you see two submission artists come head to head, they always opt against going down that route in terms of testing out their submission skills. So because of that, I'm visualizing, I'm seeing this fight ending up as a stand-up contest. And when you look at that, you think Verdum is more likely to take it on that basis, just because Verdum has more tools in his toolbox. Excuse me, standing up, and also he's seen it all and done it all. I just feel like it's a very confident look on this one. I just feel like Verdum will be going into this fight very confident, and for rightly so. And I see him taking this fight on that basis.
Yeah, I will have to say that I agree with you on this one. Why? Because both of them have good jiu-jitsu, but I feel like Fabricio is going to even though obviously Olenek's a lot more experienced and has way more fights than him, I feel like he's going to outsmart him. He's going to make sure that he's going to set up a few traps in a submission, I feel. And then I think that he's going to go for like a rear naked choke to finish the fight, in my prediction. That's what I feel. And that's going to go for Fabricio in terms of the end of the fight. It's going to be submission by rear naked choke.
I love how he's very confident with the fight, the way the fight is going to end. What round are you thinking?
It will be round 3.
This man is a mystic Mark. McGregor ain't got nothing on this guy. You can see it. You can visualize it. Right.
Round 3.
Cool. So next fight, we've got match 6, which is Pettis versus Cerrone.
Now that is going to be a good fight.
Yeah.
It's going to be off the hook.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that fight. That's going to be crazy. You got Pettis.
I don't really feel very positive about this one. I just feel like both of them are kind of on the same sort of path right now when it comes to their careers. Like they're on a downwards spiral at the moment. I believe Cerrone has lost 3 fights in a row. Pettis lost 2, I want to say. So it's kind of anybody's fight in terms of confidence. Is not very sky high for both of them. We've heard about Cerrone's last fight where he had McGregor come out to say that he didn't show up for that fight. So it's a little bit dicey in terms of predicting the outcome of this fight. So I'm gonna kind of try and stick to their fighting skills and their skill sets only, and try and stay away from the mental aspects of it. Because I feel like mentally both of them kind of not where I would like them to be for this fight. From a striking perspective or from a fighting skill set perspective, I feel like Cerrone is a bigger fighter. Pettis is fought in featherweights, he's fought in lightweight. He's recently fought in welterweight where he fought a Cowboy, but he's got a smaller size and smaller frame to Cerrone. So I think that might come into play here. They both fought in the past as well, where Pettis finished him off with a kick, a body kick. But I believe, for me, I might have a bit of a bias against Pettis in terms of I see him as a bit of he quits quite a bit. He checks out really quickly when things get tough, and I feel like he gets lucky. Me, 100% going back to the Waterboy fight, like there was no way, shape, or form anyone going into that fight thought Pettis was going to beat Wonderboy. Wonderboy. And I honestly feel like that was a lucky strike. Him the Superman punch and knocked him out. And I feel the same way when it comes to his previous fight when he beats Cowboy, where he obviously finished him off with a kick to the body. I want to say it's a little bit lucky, but at the same time, he trains. I forget the team he trains with, but they're known for game planning very well. Tyron Woodley trains with that team as well, and Tyron Woodley is known for his game planning. He obviously a previous champion in welterweight, so they know how to game plan a lot. So I don't want to put it all down to luck, but for the most part, like personality-wise, skill set-wise, he's a striker for the most part. He's got some jiu-jitsu basis, a jiu-jitsu base, but he's a striker for the most part. And I think he won't want to be. He's not one to wrestle you to the ground and try and grapple you. Most of his submissions or jiu-jitsu comes into it whenever the opportunity presents itself. Opportunistic sort of grappling. So I think for the most part, this fight is going to stay standing. And with that, I believe both of them are not known to be knockout artists too much for the most part. I'd say Cerrone knocks you out mainly from like head kicks.
I
don't know if he's going to be able to set it up on this one just because Pettis is quite a technical fighter as well and he's quite experienced. I don't see him setting up a head kick on this one. I think it might end up being a decision fight. And looking at it, I would probably go for Cerrone. I just feel like with no crowd being around as well, he's potentially going to be coming to his own in this fight. And he's coming back with something to prove because obviously he essentially disgraced in his fight against Conor. So I believe he's going to come in super motivated. And I expect to see a very good performance from Cerrone. So I'd say Cerrone win on this one.
Yeah, for this one too, I'm gonna say Cerrone. He's such a veteran in the whole thing though, in terms of the amount of experience he's had in the whole sport of the UFC. If you look at his statistics, he's had so many fights. How many fights has he had? He's had over 44 fights. He's had over nearly 40 fights. That's nearly double. What Pettis has had. Yeah. But like I said, Pettis is so dynamic in terms of he's not afraid to try new shit, like, crazy kicks or something. I think Pettis is a bit more unpredictable fighter at times if he's willing to try out new shit in the octagon, like I said. I feel like I said, Cerrone is well too. He's got some good kicks. He's particularly his front kick to the face, as we saw against who was he? Who did he knock out against? Cerrone the front leg kicked him in the face. I can't remember what was his name. He had a recent fight with him. Yeah.
Front kick to the face.
Who was he? Yeah.
Was it Ayaquinta?
Yeah, you're right. Ayaquinta. Yeah. I thought, wow.
Yeah.
That's the Cerrone we need to see.
Cerrone,
I think he has his sparks in moments that.
He I think he's is capricious. It can be, you never know which one's going to show up on a given day. And he's I feel like he's a confidence fighter. So if he's confident, he's going to be a killer on a mission. Whereas when he's not, it's just a different person. So I feel like on this one though, his motivation is in the right place. I believe. I want to say his motivation has got to be in the right place. Otherwise, he won't be coming back right now. And I almost feel like it's the right mix for him to excel, just because if I'm correct, Petty's on a 2-fight losing streak. At least he's on a 1 because he lost Nate Diaz. I think he lost. Yeah, he lost to Tony as well. So he's on a 2-fight losing streak.
Yeah, but he was trying some crazy shit with Pettis. But I think with Pettis, right, I think he becomes to get complacent with his fighting.
I think he takes when he gets tough, he checks out. He's like, oh.
Yeah, he doesn't take it. That's remember when he was pulled out by Ferguson, and he was in top position, right? And because he was pouring, right, he was literally just looking up in the air, like, what the hell's going on? And with his tongue out while Ferguson was doing his work. I was like, what are you doing? Like, pay attention to the fight. You know what I mean?
Wow,
that guy is fucking crazy.
You attended the crazy kick towards the end of maybe round 1 or 2 against Tony Ferguson, where Tony is putting pressure on him. Tony is basically pounding him to a pop. And all of a sudden, Petty just from nowhere does some like fucking hand on the floor.
Capoeira kicks.
Wheel kick, yeah, it's a mad kick that I think missed Tony as well. So he's just like
just by this much.
Yeah, but definitely I feel like Cerrone is more the favorite for me in this fight. Yeah, and that's my stance on that one. You going for Cerrone?
So I think Cerrone's going to take this one. I think he is going to take it by. I think he's going to do a TKO.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Next one up is Hardy De Castro, Jorgen De Castro. He's African, by the way. He's from Cape Verde, so I'm repping him for this fight. Hardy, former NFL player, now fighter. He's got a 5-2-0 record. So he's had 7 fights, 1 fight. He's had 5 fights. No, 1-5, lost 2, and no. What is it like? 0 draws. So he's had 5 wins, 2 losses, 0 draws. Last fight, he lost to a guy called Volkov. He flew to Russia for it. Volkov, top contender in the heavyweight division. This is the heavyweight fight, by the way. And it was a fight that was won by decision. Volkov is not known to knock anybody out, even though he's a striker. So you would expect that if he's going to win a fight, it would be like by decision. So it doesn't say too much about Hardy to basically like stand the test. We stand the test of time, or go the whole course of that fight. I watched some glimpses of that fight and some clips of that fight, and you can see Volkov was putting on Hardy. Although there were bits of that fight where I was quite impressed with Hardy in terms of like just his movements, his striking is getting there slowly but surely. But you just feel like his gas tank is not where it needs to be. He also moves around in a very unrefined way where it feels like he's still learning the craft, which he is. He's only 7 fights in his career, professional career. So going from there, then he's a striker. Yeah, you're not gonna find him trying to wrestle you or grapple you. He's a striker for sure. And the heavyweight, if you're a striker, you know, like there's not too many wrestlers or grapplers really in the heavyweight, so you can do well as a striker in the heavyweight division. De Castro is a striker as well, and is a knockout artist. He knocks people out everywhere. He's quite early in his career as well. He's had 6 professional fights, all by knockouts.
Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah, and I saw an interview by him where he's like, they asked him, who do you feel has the more power, you or Hardy? And it's like, Hardy TKOs people and knock people out, essentially. So TKO meaning you don't really knock them out, you just punch them till they basically quit and give up. Right, so knockout is like unconscious. So just in case anyone was wondering. Yeah, so it's quite balanced.
It's a difficult one to call.
Yeah, it's quite balanced in terms of experience. I spent a lot of time like researching this one. Quite balanced in terms of experience. I definitely feel like looking at their size, Hardy's a big guy for sure, but I don't.
Hardy's a huge fucking guy,
Yeah,
man. Look at this. Is he 6'5"? He's 120 kilos, 265 pounds.
yeah, but I don't see the Castro being, worried about his size by any means. I feel like the Castro has his mind on the prize in terms of like he's ready to game plan. In his interview, talking about game planning for his opponents, just being ready. He asked for this fight as well. I definitely feel like it's gonna be a tough fight. Hardy's gonna try and come out and swing for the bleachers and try and knock him out, swing for the fences. But I don't see it happening. I see him trying, like knocking himself out, basically, like winning, like winning himself out and just getting tired from like trying to knock out the Castro. And the Castro seems to have a lot more amateur experience as well, so he should be able to move out of harm's way if he needs to. It's going to be a striking contest for sure.
Yeah.
For me, I see the Castro game planning and dragging the fight out to the point where Hardy gets tired and he knocks Hardy out. Either knockout or a decision. That's what I see. The Castro for me.
I think because it's just obviously a heavyweight, I think that there's going to be a lot of slugging, a lot of a lot of slugging and a lot of battling through in terms of who's going to tire the next person out in this fight in particular. In particular, I think Greg Hardy's going to gas himself out a lot quicker than Jorgen. I also believe that this was going to go over in a knockout. I feel like Jorgen is going to get knocked out by Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
TKO or knockout?
That's a difficult one. It's going to be. You know what? I think he's going to get knocked out, Jorgen.
Yeah.
I think so.
What round are you thinking? Or why are you thinking that, actually?
I just feel based on his experience, and he actually fought in Russia against this guy called Volkov, right? And Volkov, he fought my instructor, Stu, and Stu, lost that fight, but he said that Volkov was not swinging at all. He was literally cutting the angles really well, and I feel because Greg Hardy he lost against that fight, I feel like he was gassing himself out. But luckily, I feel like in this particular case that he's going to slug and catch him badly.
Yeah.
With an overhand right. I feel like that's going to be it's going to be one of those cases that's going to be unlucky for Jorgen, and he's just going to catch him. That's what I feel with a big shot, and it's going to end in a knockout.
Is MMA anything can happen? That's
my prediction. I feel like he's going to hit him with an overhand right, and that's going to startle him a lot.
Yeah, Hardy's going to come in very confident based on his size. I think he's a naturally confident guy, and he's going to come out swinging like crazy. In my
view. His power is my days. It's fucking ridiculous.
Jorgen De Castro is a dark horse a little bit because not a lot of people know about him, and his record is amazing as well. So even though he's a smaller guy, I've seen him go for like rounds upon rounds, and he doesn't seem to slow down at all. So that can be a way for him to take this fight. In my view, I see him kind of dragging this out a little bit, getting Hardy a little bit tired, and then taking advantage. But we'll see.
Yeah, like I said, Jorgen's 4 of his professional fights have ended in the first round. So who knows? It could be anyone's game. But 4 of his nearly half of his fights have ended in the first round. So via leg kicks as well.
Then this fight can go either way as well in terms of we've seen Greg Hardy being disqualified before twice, making errors. And I almost feel like that mostly comes about due to him being kind of inexperienced, but also nerves. This environment where there's no crowd, it remains to be seen whether that might play into how that might play into his mindset going to the fight. Obviously, he's still quite new. He's quite green. So potentially, there might be even like not necessarily a win or loss in this fight. It might even go to a disqualification. Hopefully not. So for me, if I was going to place a bet, I probably won't bet on this fight at all. Just like let it go. But that's me. Cool. So next fight, match 4. We got a featherweight fight between my man Jeremy Stevens and Calvin Kattar. This is going to be fireworks, guys. These guys, they don't try and wrestle or jiu-jitsu anybody. It's just come out, let's slug. This is going to be a slugfest. Jeremy Stevens is a savage, all right? That's all I have to say about him. And looking through his records, all their records, I believe if he hasn't got more fights, he actually does have more fights. He has at least 45 fights, where Calvin Kattar has 24 fights, professional fights. And Jeremy Stevens has fought the who's who, like championship level fights, all sorts. So
he's had a lot of fights, Jeremy Stevens.
Going to be composed in there 100%. He's seen it or done it all. And coming to this fight, there's no unknowns in terms of there's not going to be any wrestling, no grappling. So he just comes to do his thing in this fight, right? And he's a knockout artist. He knocks people out, right? If you've seen that video where Conor McGregor goes, "Who's that guy?" It was, who the fuck is that guy? It's Jeremy Stevens he was talking about. He is that guy. He was saying to Conor that, excuse me, come fight me. Everyone else TKOs people. I knock people out. He knocks people out. Right? So you don't want to be standing with Jeremy Stevens. Calvin Kattar, everyone says he's a technical fighter. He's got one of the most polished boxing skills in that division. Crisp boxing skills. I believe he's got all the fundamentals. He's very sound on the fundamentals. Just 1-2s, 1-2-3s. He's very sound on the fundamentals. I believe though he's not very fluid with it. His foundations are there, but it doesn't really. There's no flair. I don't feel like there's enough flair in it. Whereas you go Jeremy Stevens, his punches come in bunches. They come from every angle, and they come like with very vicious intent. So on that basis, I'm going for Jeremy Stevens in this fight. Potentially a knockout. I see a knockout.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Jeremy Stevens on this fight. But like I said, I don't feel like Calvin's going to, cause him as much trouble. If you saw, Zabit's fight against Jeremy Stevens, even though he had a lot of trouble and whatnot, it's just that I feel like the previous people who he's fought, such as Jose Aldo, Zabit, they all have that unpredictable about them. Whereas Calvin, I feel like he's a bit more predictable in his strikes and whatnot, in my opinion. I feel like his movement is going to be a more for an experienced fighter like Steven is going to be able to pick up on these things quite quickly. I feel like he's had enough experience from his previous fights to understand, like, hang on a minute, this guy is setting up this trap or whatnot. He's going to utilize the cage a lot better than Calvin, for sure. But which is why I'm going to go with Jeremy Stevens on that one, via knockout even.
Knockout, nice. Glad to know we agree on this one. Finally. You're not just a camera, so you can catch your head when you lean forward.
Oh shit! Yeah, it's my bad.
So, Right. So next one, match three, match number three. It's a heavyweight fight between our man Ngannou, Francis
Whoa.
Ngannou, and
Damn, this is gonna be a good fight. I can't wait.
Justin
It's
Rose.
gonna be off the hook. Bang.
Right. So
Dynamite, baby.
right off the bat, like as you can hear,
Shit.
yeah, this is gonna be a war. It's gonna be a war zone in that hour.
Wow.
Considering there's not gonna be any crowds, just look out. Be ready for lots of like crazy strikes, like the sounds
It's gonna
coming
be.
from
It's gonna
strikes.
be like thunder.
Yeah,
Boom. You can hear
there's
it from your
mad,
house, man.
mad soundages coming out from the strikes.
Mm.
Francis Ngannou has got like crazy power. His reach is like quite mad as well. Reach differential. It's not too.
210 centimeters, which is
Yeah,
about what?
yeah. So he's got more reach in this fight. I believe Rosenstrike is no walk in the park. He's got so much experience, even though his MMA record is 10
I
and 0.
know.
So most of his fights are being won by knockouts for the most part. He's had about 6 in the UFC and all by knockouts. Ngannou, he's lost 3 fights, one to the champ, two random fights, one when he was an amateur, and I think that was his first MMA fight, and then another one to the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, which was basically not a fight. Since then, he's been on a rampage. He's basically been knocking out people within seconds of the first round.
Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, we're not talking just like little nobodies. He's been knocking out Cain Velasquez, JDS,
Curtis Blades.
well-known names.
TKO.
Yeah, and for me, just with the way this fight came about as well, you heard Rosenstrike talking about, I want this guy. He actually called Ngannou out. But I think even though that's commendable, it's the words that come after that in terms of, oh, I wanna find Ngannou. He's the guy that everyone is afraid of, the big scary guy everyone's afraid of. I feel like that kind of tells you a bit about his mindset. Like it can go either way in terms of he can be a very confident person going into this fight, or be a bit slow. So I think prior to a fight, everyone has some like nerves creep in, right? And you can start to doubt yourself, especially when you already said he's a big scary guy. So I think it might be a different ballgame when it comes to like being in the octagon and sharing the octagon with Ngannou. I think he might act a little bit different from himself. He's not going to be very composed, and you see that a lot. Like experienced fighters, JDS. When I say JDS, Junior Dos Santos, he was an ex-champion in the UFC. He got in the
He
cage.
was a veteran.
He was talking the big game and all sorts. He got in the cage and you can see like no composure whatsoever. He's moving around and swinging crazy. It's still happening in this fight. I watched Rosenstrike's last fight against Overeem, where he went 5 rounds. Towards the end, he knocked Overeem out. Overeem was basically taking him apart in that fight. So for so much for as much as people talk about his kickboxing career or background, I didn't see too much of his kickboxing skills in that fight. Again, Overeem is no slouch when it comes to kickboxing, but at the same time, Rosenstrike got taken apart. I didn't see too much. On that basis, then I'm looking at Ngannou as the favorite for this fight, and I see him doing his thing, getting in there, taking his time, finding his moments, and then basically taking heads off. So it's a knockout from Ngannou for me.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that one, with Ngannou winning by a knockout. I feel like his experience has come into play, even though, in particular with the Stipe fight, his conditioning is improved a lot more. Also, like I said, I don't feel like he's going to, gas out quite as quick. Like I said, Jorginho has got a really good fight record. A lot of his fights have even ended in the first round. But like I said, I think Ngannou is going to take this one for sure.
Good, good, good. Right. Hope you're not just agreeing with me all of a sudden.
No, no, I'm just telling you based on the statistics and my prediction of how it would play out into the two dimensions of the fighting, how it would work. Just picture it in the mind, in my mind.
All right, I'm gonna go through these next two quite quick. Then match two. So this is like just off the main event. We got a fight in the bantamweight division between basically legend killer and legend. Um, Henry Cejudo, Triple C, the man,
Yeah, that's true.
the legend killer. He's beaten Dimitri Johnson. He's been TJ Dillashaw. He's beaten Marlon Moraes. I literally thought there was no chance of him beating Marlon Moraes in that fight. But again, people always write him off. I think it's because of his persona. People think there's not a lot to him. But I definitely feel like he's the favorite for this in this fight, for good reasons. Cruz hasn't fought for about 4 years, and he's been known to come back and be in tip-top shape and not show any signs of, ring rust. So potentially that might not be the case here. But you're talking about Olympian, a gold medalist, right? Top level athletes, right? Henry Cejudo. He's not just anybody, right? This is going to be a steep, very steep hill for Cruz to climb. Especially Cruz tends not to. He's a stand-up fighter. There's no, there's not a lot of grappling to his game, and if there was, it'd be wise not to utilize it in this fight because again, Cejudo is an Olympic level wrestler. Um, Cruz will be wanting to keep this standing. He's known to be very, very skilled on his feet. Um, so it'll be a case of I see Cruz coming in trying to point fight and Cejudo setting traps because I think if Cejudo is wise and he's quite experienced enough to know not to go after Cruz, if you go trying to find Cruz, you're not going to find him because he's never there. You're never going to be able to strike him, trying to hunt him down. So definitely he'll be setting traps for him. That might lead to wherever that leads to, it might lead to him, wrestling to the ground or basically just trying to get the right, punches in, right strikes in whenever he's able to time it correctly. In the same way as Cody Garbrandt, Cruz lost his last fight before he basically went on this little break. And basically what Cody Garbrandt did was basically set traps, fast hands, caught him every now and again, dropped him. I think Cejudo might be able to utilize the same sort of playbook and just set traps, catch him when he can. But also I see him also, like utilizing in wrestling as well. So you can go either way. Is in terms of what Cejudo wants to do. Cejudo basically determines where this fight plays out. So he's got more to his game in this fight. He has more options, more path, more of a path to victory than Cruz does. So on one hand, you're thinking Cruz wants to do point fighting and go the distance, but at the same time, I don't see him being able to outlast Cejudo from a cardio perspective because Cejudo has been quite active, even though he's been inactive of late, but he's been quite active and he's never been known to gas out. But also, Cruz is not a knockout artist, whereas Cejudo, he's got such a massive head, you're not going to knock him out. So really, it's going to be a case of Cejudo either wrestling him or setting traps and basically knocking him out. So I'm going for a Cejudo win. TKO, Cejudo.
Yeah, like I said, this is going to be a good fight. I feel like you've got two different styles of fighters. Obviously, Cejudo's wrestling is unbelievable. It's probably one of the best in the game. And then you have Dominic Cruz's footwork is amazing. I feel like obviously he's going to try and keep it on his feet. But then again, Cejudo, he's going to go with them shoot. He's going to shoot for the legs. It's going to be a difficult one to call in terms of how it's going to end. But for me, like I said, I think I'm going to go with Henry Cejudo. I feel like he's going to win based on his activity in previous fights. And like I said, when I saw Dominic Cruz, what was his name? Who did he just fought? Dylan Shaw, was it? Was it Dylan? Who did he? Cody Garvin. Cody Garvin.
Yeah, go Garvin.
I feel like I think the pressure just got to him at that time. I feel like his mind wasn't in the right fight. I feel like with Dominic Cruz, you can easily manipulate him inside the octagon by doing some silly mind games, and he gets very frustrated easily, and that puts him completely off his game. So if I feel like the stronger decision is going to go to Henry for sure, Cejudo on that one via possibly even TKO or knockout.
Sweet. Yeah, so main events of the evening, title fight in the white lightweight division. You got Tony Ferguson, El Cucuy.
That's my boy right there, man. El Cucuy.
Camp sheet only. Versus
Damn, this is gonna be a good fight.
The highlight reel, Justin Gaethje. So records-wise, you got Ferguson 26-3-0, so 29 fights, 126, lost 3. You got Gaethje 23 fights, lost 121. Straight away, skill sets wise, Ferguson is a freestyle fighter. He goes wherever the fight goes. He's been on a rampage, unbeaten for a long time. And obviously he's unbeaten for a reason, for a long time. Gaethje, I think he's won his last 3 after a couple of losses. He lost against Alvarez and he lost against Poirier. But he's on a rampage as well. I think he's won his last 3. So confidence-wise, there's going to be a lot of confidence on both sides. Ferguson was preparing for Khabib recently, so mostly for a wrestling game. So that might kind of affect his preparation for this one in terms of he's not been preparing for stand-up fight. However, you always know, you expect Ferguson's going to be ready. He's always ready. His cardio is, it's unbelievable. You can't compare his cardio to anybody. He's always coming for you. He's always moving. He's always doing something. I believe this fight is going to be won or lost. It's going to be a stand-up fight for sure, right? It's going to be a stand-up fight. If anyone's going to initiate grappling, it'll be Tony Ferguson. I saw his fight where he fought Edson Barbosa. Barbosa is a striker, like one of the cleanest striker ever. So you probably don't want to stand with Barbosa.
Did you finish him off with a DOS choke?
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the case here as well, where
DOS choke.
In that fight, Ferguson was initiating grappling every now and again. I think that might be the case here, where he's going to try and initiate grappling with Gaethje, just to keep him guessing. And going to keep coming for Gaethje. I feel like when he keeps coming for Gaethje, it means he's going to be playing into Gaethje's hands in terms of Gaethje might be able to spark him and knock him out. Anyone can get knocked out. But again, I think he's always just going to boil down to the choices Tony Ferguson makes. I think he's going to make a choice to stand up initially. And then after a while, if it's not going his way, he's going to try and introduce or initiate some grappling and mix it up. And then from there, potentially I see a submission from Tony Ferguson. Or if the fight goes into the 3rd round, 4th round, it's Tony's game. Because again, Tony is a cardio king. It's a difficult one to call just because this is the top of the top, right? This is the upper echelons of talent in that division. Very hard to call. I would say if he stays standing too long, Gaethje takes it. If Tony mixes it up and is smart enough to mix it up, then it keeps Gaethje guessing, makes him work, and it's Tony's fight. I think Tony's going to be smart enough to mix it up. He's going to mix it up for sure because, again, he's a winner. He's going to try and mix it up. That means that he's basically going to take it from there. So Tony has more skills, more tools to win this fight. So I'll go for Tony. Tony wins.
Nice. Yeah. So I think this fight could go into two ways. We obviously have the first way being a submission by Ferguson. And I think that Gaethje, his power is he might catch him. I think that because Tony is such a pressure fighter and the way he comes up to you, you know, if Gaethje just catches you, he might actually knock Tony Ferguson out. That could be a scenario, and that could be a big shock. I feel in the early round, it might even go for like a first round or second round knockout. Could like the way it could go based on his previous fights or whatnot. But I feel like Ferguson's a lot smarter in terms of the way he's going to move, cut angles in and out. I think he might even try like something crazy, like a flying Imanari roll where he gets into the ground and starts, just starts to work in terms of the submissions from there.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, anything could go. But like I said, I feel like Ferguson's going to win this one based on his win streak from before. But he's got to be careful not to get caught by Gaethje because he has that knockout power. And if he catches him, I don't feel like Ferguson's going to recover from that big shot. Ferguson doesn't really knock out people. He'll use a lot of volume, whether it be punches or a lot of elbows. If you look at his previous competitors, he practically poured a lot of people out with blood all over the faces, and that's going to be I think that might be a case even in this fight. So it's going to be a fantastic fight. But like I said, I think Ferguson's going to take it via possibly a triangle choke or a DAS.
Nice. All right, guys, there you have it. So we covered 8 fights tonight. I feel like I wanted to cover all of the fights in this card. Actually, I'm going to go through the other fights quickly. So you go Ryan Hall, Jacare Souza, match 9. I believe Souza has more skills to win this fight. Hall is a standard fighter. Souza is, is a grappler / striker. I believe it's all going to come down to mentality here. I think Souza is on his way out. I don't feel like he's got enough motivation. He's gone from light heavyweight now back to middleweight. Whereas Hall has been on a hot and cold. He's won last 2 fights. If Hall is going to win this fight, he's got to be standing. Souza is experienced enough to try and take him down and grapple. If he's going to be able to, that's the question here. I'd say, based on skills, Souza is going to be able to stifle Hall's striking skills, so I'll go for Souza. Right. So, how do you see that?
Same here. Souza going to win based on his experience.
So
I think he's going to outsmart him.
Match 10, you got Vicente Luque, Nico Price. Vicente Luque, they fought in the past. Basically, Luque starched him, knocked him out. And potentially that might be the case again. Not potentially. You see, Luque has a lot more submission in his records as well. It's a bit more rounded than Price. His Price is more of a knockout artist. So it's win or bust for Price for the most part. I don't see him knocking out Luque. I feel like Luque's stand-up skills, hands are more crisp than Price's. So because of that, he's more of a rounded fighter, and I see Luque taking the fight on that basis. Happy?
Yeah, I'm happy with that one too.
Sweet. And you got Bryce Mitchell versus, I think, Charles Rosa, the match 11. Both of them are known to be jiu-jitsu practitioners, so like submission artists. More so for Mitchell than Rosa, because of their skill sets, purely their skill sets. I'm thinking Rosa is more rounded up. This is not very confident because I've never seen these guys fight before. In Mitchell's last,
they have a similar record, but Rosa's lost 3.
Yeah, in Mitchell's last fight, he did a crazy twister submission, which was mad. So if you really? Have a look, go YouTube it. Twister submission is mental, mind blowing. Where both of them have very impressive submissions on their records. Definitely for me, again, I'm not confident with this because I've never seen any of these guys fight. I'd say Rosa is potentially going to take it just because, again, I think Michel's got pillow hands, and I think Rosa has got pillow hands in terms of he hasn't got any TKO or knockouts on his records, whereas Rosa's got knockouts. So I think both of them are going to try and their jiu-jitsu is going to cancel out, and they're going to end up standing, and Rosa's probably going to take it. So the last fight I'm going to cover, which is the first fight on the card, is match 12. In the middleweight division, you got Ryan Span and Alvi, Smiling Alvi. Alvi is described as a striker, Span a jiu-jitsu practitioner. But Span has got knockouts on his records as well. I believe Alvi is very one-dimensional. Span is the bigger guy, if I'm correct. Yeah, he's the bigger guy. So potentially, what's their reach? Reach advantage? Reach. Yeah, Span's got a bit more reach. It's not too significant. Obviously, it's a southpaw fighter, so left hand. So it's going to be like opposite stance fight. For me, again, Span is a more rounded fighter. Alvi's been around the block a few times. I'd say just based on their skill set, Span is more likely to take it. But again, it's MMA. If Span is too silly to keep it standing for too long or underestimate Sam Alvi, which most people do because he's very smiley, might get sparked out or knocked out. So likeliness of what's most likely to happen is Span wins this fight, potentially by submission because they're probably going to grapple or clinch at some point, and then he's going to take it from there. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's my take on the card for Saturday into Sunday this weekend. I'm going to put this out on all my social media platform. And yeah, let me know what you make of it. Any comments, any views, any perspective, any insights. Happy to entertain. That's it. I'm going to stop talking.
Yeah, it's cool. Much love, man. That was a good statistic analysis of what's going to happen in your view. That's really good.
Yeah. So thanks to
looking forward to the fight.
Huh?
Looking forward to the fight, man.
Definitely. Definitely. Looking up to staying up all night, maybe. All right. I want to say a massive thank you to my man, Vrun Fitness London.
Yeah, man.
Beast. Don't underestimate him. If you see him on the streets, walk away. All right. All right.
Thanks, man. Peace out, bro.